Ladies and gents, welcome back to AusGamers. We're out at E3 once again. I have Jean, who is the creative director on Black Flag, not Henry Rollins' Black Flag. This is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's a really easy jump-off point because obviously Assassin's Creed 3 was like a really big undertaking. There was a lot invested in it. The idea of the naval combat sort of, I remember having interviews where people weren't really sure how it was going to go. And obviously it became one of the biggest factors and one of the most loved factors. Was that the reason that it ended up going? You ended up with Pirates?
Well, it definitely helped. Actually, we had the same reaction internally, but a year and a half before fans, right? Before players could actually play with the naval part. So when we realized back in 2011 that we had something really, really cool there with that, we first decided to focus the efforts for SC3 on some missions, you know, very controlled, on some controlled environments, to make sure we develop the tech and the experience properly. And then as we started the development, but this time was with the idea of making it open world.
So open world, I mean, it looks like it's the biggest open world that the series has ever had. And I mean, you've got this ginormous bed of sea for people to just move around in. And in previous games, there was always like loading areas. Is it a seamless transition as you're going around the world, or?
We will have some few areas where we will have loadings, but the vast majority, as you saw this morning during the demo, will be totally seamless. The idea is really to make the player feel what was to be a pirate, and it was about being free, you know, being adventurous too, and violent. So the way we develop this game, yes, you're right. I mean, the world in itself is the biggest that we've ever created. Now, that being said, most of it is ocean, right? Which is procedural, which is totally systemic. So we will have the same amount of ground surface, basically. But the main difference is that we've sliced it into many different locations. So we have up to 50, I think, I mean, dozens of different locations, unique locations, not copy-paste, right? Unique locations that players will be able to explore at their own pace while roaming the ocean.
Now, the demo that we saw in there, was that running on PS4?
It was the build of PS4 running on high-end PC.
Right. I mean, what have you guys done in terms of an engine overhaul? I mean, the water alone is like gorgeous, but you've got like a bigger draw distance now, and you've got much more detail in the environments. You said, I think someone said there was next-gen haystack.
Yes. Well, that was, the haystack was mainly a joke, but the power of the next-gen consoles will definitely increase even more the immersion. I mean, AC has always been a beautiful franchise with beautiful graphics, you know, that to immerse people in these periods of time. But I mean, with this new hardware, we will be able to push it even further. So in our game, the fluidity of the smoke, the ocean, the clouds, you know, in the sky, the leaves, to also improve the feeling of stealth. All this is really at its best on next gen.
Now, one of the coolest factors of the last game, and you know, a sister game, Far Cry 3, had an amazing ecology, especially where animals were concerned, and how you interacted with the world and animals. And obviously, we saw the whale breaching, which was beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about the ecology side of this? Is it going to have an impact on the player? Will you be able to interact? I mean, you mentioned something about harpooning. Yep. Will there be dangerous animals? Is there sharks and stuff like that?
We'll have sharks underwater. We'll have big animals like that to hunt, and smaller ones on ground. And so, yes, animals are not only are part of the ambient life of this living and breathing world, but they're also gameplay ingredients that you will have, for example, to hunt in order to get some material to craft things, you know, or to upgrade your ship.
It seems like the series just becomes more and more RPG, more and more open as you guys progress. What sort of grinding and crafting can the player do this time around?
Well, like I said, the animals, for example, will be used for crafting some items. All the economic loop has been revamped to match better the pirate setting. So it will really be about upgrading your ship in order to access new areas, and bigger galleons with tons of cargoes that would be needed to upgrade it even more. And we made sure in the first place that we really wanted this game to be one game. It sounds a little bit, simple, but we didn't want to have, AC3 proposal with ground game and naval part. As I told you, there was a reason behind that choice back in the days, but in our case, we really wanted to build a big game that would feel and played unified. So it's not a naval game with a ground game. It's a pirate game using all the ingredients we can now have.
Was it hard for you guys? I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with pirate ships and naval combat, there's got to be a level of is it fun or is it boring? Because you can't actually have true physics involved with that, because it would take forever, right? So for you guys, at what point do you? I mean, is it just testing and just making sure that you're iterating all the time? Yeah,
exactly. It's exactly that. So we knew we can't be realistic in terms of speed and pace, but neither were the previous ACs. I mean, right? We're a game in the end, even if we always push and try to make it as realistic as possible. And so this naval experience, we wanted to be first free for the player to decide, right? To go wherever they want. So for example, just the fact to be able to stop anywhere you want, release the wheel, jump into the water, experience, for example, explore a little playa over there. This is important. And then we made sure to create ingredients and tools for players to fasten the pace as they want. So fast travel points, easy go back to your ship. And we have this animus travel speed where we can play also. Our narrative allows us to play with the simulation. To make sure, for example, that between the moment the player decides to attack this ship or to reach this island, well, we have a way to shorten the time needed. And also spreading things in the ocean to always have something to do.
Players were a little bit divided with AC3, specifically about the amount of time that you spent with Connor in different parts of his life. Did you guys learn from that? Did you take that feedback? And are we basically just playing a smaller slice of
Edward?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's obviously we listen. We always listen to our fans, to the reactions, etc. Now, as you know, the game has started. I mean, the development of the game started a year before the release of AC3. So when AC3 hit shelves, I mean, we were already way deep in production, right? So we didn't make our choices based on the reactions of fans, but it all depends on the character you want to tell the story about. I mean, Altair was about 1 year, right? AC1 is basically a few months, actually, I think. Ezio, AC2 spanned for, I don't know, almost 30 years. Then AC Brotherhood was just 6 years, and Revelations a year. So, it all depends about the story, not about really reactions.
And in AC3, there was some cool, little things that the team had put in, such as, the alien encounter and stuff like that. You're playing around in areas where the Bermuda Triangle is, right? Are we going to get to see some crazy stuff there?
I won't spoil, things like that, but it's tempting to play a little bit on the edge with this kind of stuff.
Right.
But I can tell you more today.
And can you? I mean, you're talking about when you go to the islands, you've obviously got enemies, you've got small missions, emergent missions that come up, and one of the coolest factors of the last few games has been the underground temples, yes. the climbing game, basically. I mean, will that make a triumphant return? And how far have the artists gone now with this world?
Well, it's not. Once again, it's like for the characters. We don't try to copy paste. We have the good thing. I mean, we're very lucky to have 5 games before us. So we have tons of ingredients that we like or we like less, etc. That we can decide, and then it's like crafting your own recipe with cool ingredients and picking the one that you prefer. So yes, we will have these type of experiences, more linear, underground, but maybe less than in the previous ones. It's just we want to not to become not to come with a copy, you know, or with a copycat. We want to come with a game which is very special, very unique about Edward, about this gigantic world that we've never seen before. So the game will be different.
Okay, and finally, in one of the trailers, Edward's going down deep into the water. Is it going to be underwater exploration?
We will have some areas, yes, where you will be able to go down underwater using the diving bell that we saw in that trailer. So it will be really focused, not limited areas, right? I would say it's almost the same strategy we had with the naval experience for Honesty 3, right? When we want to try something new like that, to bring something to the franchise, let's first make it good, focus on it, deliver it properly, and see what we can do, and then why not? Who knows? Expand it after. But in our game, we will have dedicated place for that.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much. The game looks really, really good. Cheers.
My pleasure.